Hello everyone, my name is Amber. Welcome back to my channel, Amber Reads Romance. Today I am here with my wrap up for July. I'm going to be going over all my stats and my top reads for the month, and this was a fantastic month for me. So let's go ahead and quickly get started with my July wrap up. Okay guys, July was amazing. It was mostly amazing because I got to go to Hawaii for a week with my whole family. My son came into town. You know, he moved to Washington with his dad. I think it's been a couple years now. And it's been really tough without him here. And so I haven't seen my son, who's 21, in a year. And so it was great just being all week with my son, my mom. It was just such a fantastic vacation. I did post like a quick little reel or a short, sorry, for YouTube, a short the other day of my Hawaii trip. But I am also going to be posting soon a vlog. So I did vlog a little bit, so you'll see some footage of Hawaii, but it was fantastic. So I didn't get a ton of reading done on my trip, but I still managed to read 35 books in July. So, and I did take 2 weeks off of work. And I didn't read a ton those 2 weeks, but I still kept pretty good. I was pretty good with it. So 35 books, ain't no joke. I'm still on track here. I'm still doing really good. A lot of that was audiobooks. Let's not kid ourselves. I listen to a lot of audiobooks and, you know, I get a lot of ALCs. So that was kind of a lot of the reading too, but it was great. I have to warn you now, like I had a lot of 5 stars. Like, I don't know if it was because I was on vacation and feeling good and just happier, but I gave a lot of 5 stars this month. So it was so funny at work. I posted pictures from Hawaii, and there's one picture, I'll maybe put it up here, of me drinking a pina colada, but I got it where it was like a dark rum float one, which I'd never had that, and it was so good. And I posted that picture at work, and my coworker was like, "Oh, you look so happy." And it just made me laugh because it's like, I feel like I'm miserable half the time, or look like, I do have resting bitch face. I just do at work a lot of the times, or just in my day-to-day life. And so it just cracked me up. It was like, oh, I'm actually look happy in a picture. But anyways, let's get started because I don't want to make this video too long. I always say that, don't I? But, you know, I had to film this. It's Saturday. I just wanted to get it done real quickly. I'm not sure if I'm going to post this on Sunday or if I'll end up posting it later in the week because I still have my weekly wrap up to film tomorrow and stuff. But anyways, I don't know when I'm posting this, but I needed to get this filmed real quick. So let's go ahead and get started. So I read 35 books, and again, that was great. So let's talk about the stats first. I know some of you probably don't really care about this, but this is kind of what I do to keep track of what I do for the year. And so I read 35 books, and that was 13,337 pages. My ratings were pretty crazy when I looked back at it. I don't think I usually give, maybe I do give this many 5 stars. I don't know. I'm pretty easygoing with 5-star reads. That's why I do the 6-star that I got from Jen from the Book Refuge, because if I enjoy a book, if it made me feel all the feels, if it was happy, if it, I'm not going to nitpick it to death. I'm going to give it a 5-star. Like I am. So that's kind of why I give those 6 stars. So I can kind of be able to see the ones that are just better than a 5-star. So anyways, the ratings that I had 1 6-star this month, which was fantastic. And I will be going over that. I had 14 5-stars. So that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot for the 5 stars. I did have 7 4.5 stars. 8 4 stars, 2 3.5 stars, and then 3 3 stars. So a pretty great month. I didn't have any of my 2.5. I mean, the ones that were 3 stars just really missed the mark for me, but they weren't like horrible books. So it was pretty great. A pretty great month. So the types of books, the formats of stuff that I was reading, I had 16 ALCs. I'm telling you, I request so much ALCs, and that was kind of what was hanging on me over the vacation, was getting these ALCs done when I'm hanging with family in Hawaii. It was tough. So I had 16 ALCs. I had 4 ARCs, which I requested less ARCs in July, like physical ARCs, because I knew I was going on vacation and I didn't want that stress, but yet I requested a ton of ALCs. But anyways, then I listened to 6 other audiobooks beyond the ALCs, 4 paperbacks, and 5 ebooks. Sorry, I'm looking over at my notes over here, just so you know. Okay, so the types of books that I was reading, I read 11 contemporary, 2 dark romance, which is pretty low for me. And then 3 erotic romances, which was a lot. Like, I usually don't have a ton of erotic romance. 3 mafia, 4 paranormal, 1 post-apocalyptic, 3 sports romance, and then 8 small town. So all over the map there, but you know what I didn't have? Any historical. And it's shame on me. Like, I've been really bad the last couple months. Ever since the Ever After-thon where I was focusing on historical, like I have not been focusing on historical again. So I purposely left myself a lot of room on my TBR. It mostly is just like my ARCs and ALCs to like mood read. And I'm hoping I'm going to finally pick up some of my historical romances to read, because that is not good. Like, I need to still be reading historical romance every month. So that's why it's good to look at these stats for me, because it, really makes me pay attention. Historical romance is always my yearly goal to read more. So anyways. Okay, so those were my stats, and now on to my top books. Now, if you are new to my channel, I do weekly wrap-ups. I talk a lot about books, and I ramble, and I talk too long. So I started doing weekly wrap-ups this year because my mid-month and monthly wrap-ups were just way too long. If you think 35 books, if I talked about that at the end of the month, we'd be here forever. So I do weekly wrap-ups. So if you want to check out, I have a weekly wrap-up playlist. Check them out. Even go back. I used to, what's crazy is what a fangirl I am of Jen from the Book Refuge, because she does weekly wrap-ups. When I first found her channel, I went back years back and just would watch all her weekly wrap-ups. Those are my favorite videos of hers, because she really dives into each book. So if you want to do it with my channel, go ahead, because I would love that. But I review every book that I read on the week, every week. And I also, if you aren't aware, I write a review for every book I read on Goodreads. So, I have the link below always in my description here if you want to check out my Goodreads. And then I do post a lot on Instagram. So anyways, enough of me self-plugging myself. So needless to say, I only bring up my favorites, and it's hard to narrow down when you have 35 books, like your top books. So I think I'm going to be bringing up 6 as my top, because these were the ones that were just big standouts for me. So I'm going to go over my favorite books from July. Let's get started, and we're going to get started with my 6-star. So my 6-star was Wolfsong by TJ Klune. Now, this is my first time reading this author. I do have a vlog, so my vlog goes into a lot more detail, so I'm not going to go too deep into it, but you can check out the vlog. Check it out if you are interested in hearing all my thoughts, all my gushing feelings. I adored this book. I have seen this book over BookTube and blown up before so many times, and I know it's some people's really one of their top favorite type of romances, and it has such a beautiful found family. And so I finally picked it up. It's been on my TBR for years. And so finally, I think I was watching one of Crystal's from Crystal's Bookish Life, older videos. I'm not sure how long ago it was, but it was some of her favorites of like the year or something. And I saw her talking about this and I was like, I have to read it. I have to read it. I always trust Crystal. She has like the best reviews. If you haven't watched her channel yet, which I doubt you haven't, but if you haven't, check it out. She's so much more eloquent than me and gets deeper into like stuff on books. And I just love her. So watching her talk about this book, I was like, I need to read it. So I am just so happy I did, because this is definitely worth the hype. It is such a beautiful, slow burn found family. Like, it is such amazing writing of like character, like really a character driven story. TJ Klune's writing is very simple but beautiful, and he really takes the time to build the characters. And so it reminds me of how character driven, you know, The Boys of Tommen is, where you're really spending time with each of these characters, that you fall in love with the characters. And so then they mean so much more to you. So needless to say, I cried my eyes out reading this multiple times. It really moved me. It is a beautiful story. It is a beautiful found family. If you love found family, you will love this. And it just so happens to be a werewolf romance. So we have Joe, and he is a young boy, and he is a werewolf. He is part of a pack. And we have Oxnard, who is this just teddy bear of a young man that, you know, it's a very coming of age story too, because we start out with them like really young, and that's what I mean about slow burn. And they become such good friends because Oxnard's father left him and his mom abandoned them, and it really traumatized him. It really gave him issues. His dad would always tell him he would amount to nothing and not expect anything. He's not smart. He's nothing type of thing. And that really got into his head a lot. And him and his mother had to kind of like struggle on their own. And they live in this town, and this family moves in down the street, the Bennetts. And he runs into this younger boy. I think there's like quite a few years difference between them, because I believe Oxnard was 16 when they moved in, and I'm thinking that Joe was like 12 or younger. So again, this isn't creepy in any way, because they have a long friendship for many years before anything happens between them, and TJ Klune like really builds that friendship in a very beautiful, authentic way. So here I am running on about this book, but so they become friends, and immediately like Joe is like connected to him. He feels he's smelling him. Obviously, we kind of know he's a werewolf, and he recognizes that Oxnard is his mate. Now, Joe had been through a lot of trauma. He was kidnapped by a rival person that hated his father and his pack, and he was tortured, and it was really tough on him. So he wasn't talking for a long time. And so when they move back to this town and he sees Oxnard and he recognizes his mate, he instantly starts talking again. And so his parents and family immediately accept Oxnard into the pack, into their family. He doesn't find out for a while that they're actually werewolves, but eventually he does. And he basically becomes part of their pack, even though he's a human. They also like accept his mother in, and it's just such a beautiful relationship. But there are dangers coming. That previous enemy that had kidnapped Joe has been released from this kind of prison type of thing, and is coming for them, and comes for them in a really bad way. And it's just very emotional, very beautiful. You know, the relationship between Ox and Joe, it moves from friends to like once Joe's turning like 18, he's 17, 18, all of a sudden Oxnard is like seeing him in a different light, because Ox is bisexual, and you know, they really love each other. But there's something that's going to come, may split them up for a while, that adds to some conflict there. But this was just such a beautiful relationship. Beautiful found family. I love the world building of the werewolves. Also one of his best friends that helped like kind of be a father plus brother figure to him, named Gordo, is very important in this, and he is actually a witch. And he's in the second book, his romance with Mark, which is Joe's brother. So, and I read that one this month too. So I didn't add that one to this list because I wanted to highlight some other books that are like new to me author and stuff like that. But just know Wolfsong, which is the second book, which is Gordo and Mark's story, also moved me. I don't know if I'll have it up yet by the time I post this, but I will have a vlog for this, which was like during my time in Hawaii. But I gave this one 5 stars too and cried multiple times in this one too. So it's just a very moving series. I highly recommend it. I can't wait to read the third one. But Wolfsong was the one that I gave 6 stars to. It just was so beautiful and perfect. And you know, I love an romance, and this one was just so sweet and tender, and I loved all the characters. So anyways, that is my 6-star read. Sorry I rambled again on that, but it is the one that was my favorite of the month, and it just blew me away. It was so amazing. Okay, so now on to my next favorite of the month, and that is The Sun and Her Burn by Giana Darling. So this book was so amazing. I really had to binge it because I was running late reading it because of the trip. I was, wasn't able to get to it fast enough. So I felt really bad about that. I think I had to finish it on release day. So usually I try to get my arcs done before that. I also was expecting to get the ALC for this because I am on Giana's arc team and I usually request her ALCs. I got the ALC for the first book in this trilogy, but the audiobook wasn't ready yet. So I had the arc. So I wasn't prepared for that with the due dates and everything with my planning for my vacation. So I am so sorry to Giana for posting that a little late. I got it out, I think the day of or whatever, or it might have been the next day. I don't remember, but I couldn't put this book down. This was so amazing. Now I read the first book. I think it's The Moon and His Tides. I really enjoyed it. It's a very erotic romance. This is an MMF trilogy. And I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I just didn't love the heroine from that. I felt like she was very selfish. I loved the relationship between the 2 men, but Savannah really rubbed me the wrong way. And it was funny when I posted that review, Giana actually commented on my Instagram post and she was like, just trust me with what my method to my madness type of situation is with Savannah. And she does something in this that I don't think is usual for an author to really be able to pull off. And she actually switches up the heroine for the second book. So I don't want to totally ruin it because I gushed about this in my weekly wrap up. I talked about it for 10 minutes. Okay. I went deep into this. So check out my weekly wrap up. I'll try to remember to link it down below if I can, or just check out my weekly wrap up playlist for it because I really dive into it if you want a lot more information, because I felt bad after the fact because I was I was spoiling a lot because this is a trilogy. And so, if you haven't read the first book, I probably spoiled a lot for you. But what else? So I'm just going to dive into the things that I loved here. So I'm all over the place. But with the first book, we have Adam, Sebastian, and Savannah. And Sebastian was younger. I think he was 18. He was doing limo driving and whatever. And Savannah was married to Adam, and he is a very successful Oscar-winning British actor. He's very high up. He's the tops, and she's married to him, and she's attracted to Sebastian and knows her husband will be because they kind of will do stuff with people share. And so she invites Sebastian into their marriage, and he actually moves in with them, and I think it's for a year they're in a relationship, but things fall apart. And then this one picks up 10 years later. So now Sebastian he was a driver, but he was trying to make it big. He wanted to be an actor. He wrote his own screenplay. So now he's in a whole different level of success. I think he's won an Oscar, I can't remember for sure, but he's definitely award-winning, high up, very big celebrity, very successful actor. And he has not really spoken to Adam for like 10 years. They didn't keep in contact after things went down. Him and Savannah kind of have a friendship. But there's nothing going on there. God, it's so hard to talk about this without spoiling things. But basically what ends up happening is he reconnects with his friend Linnea. I think that's how you say her name. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But he reconnects with Linnea. They were friends. Her mother was like this kind of like big soap opera celebrity woman that went from husband to husband. She was a horrible mother. And she was best friends with Savannah. So she knew Savannah and them when she was like 16. That's when her and Sebastian became friends. She's like a very beautiful, loyal, free spirit, very amazing woman. And she made this book for me. She really did. I loved her. She's the opposite of everything Savannah is, and everything that I didn't like about Savannah, Linnea, is perfection, okay? And so her coming into this as like the new heroine was just magic to me. It really redeemed this trilogy because I was just kind of okay with the first one. I felt like Adam and Sebastian had this beautiful relationship, but Savannah was just like, I don't know. And I really don't like her after reading this book, too. So Linnea and him become friends. She's actually trying to be an actress, kind of struggling. She had moved. Her father lived in Hawaii and stuff, so she's a total Hawaiian surfer girl, gorgeous ray of sunshine. And she is struggling to like work a couple jobs, get acting auditions and stuff, and she's taking care of her mother who has like this type of dementia that was like really sad, and so she's really struggling, and he's reconnected with her, has feelings for her, but thinks that he can't really go there because he gave his heart to two people already. And then Adam has a big kind of scandal happening. A guy from the past is threatening to like expose him as being gay. He is bi, but he does not want to be known as being into men. He thinks it'll ruin his career. It'll ruin all this stuff for him. And so he's in a really bad place. So Sebastian comes up with the idea to have Linnea be like his fake girlfriend, and then maybe a marriage of convenience, so that it could help her career, help her financially with her mother, and then she could help be his like kind of like his beard or whatever. But of course, they're all going to be attracted to each other. They're all going to want each other, and things happen. So this one leaves off on another cliffhanger. Now again, people are really upset, and I understand. Cliffhangers suck. But I knew going in, this is a trilogy. I knew Giana was going to like take my heart, rip it into pieces, and be like, now you got to wait for the final book. And I'm fine with that because I was giddy reading this book. It was beautiful. The sexual scenes were a lot more intimate, a lot more beautiful. Linnea was the perfect partner to both of them. Again, I said I wasn't going to spoil anything, and I've talked a lot already. Sorry, guys. I guess I'm spoiling things again. But I freaking loved this book. Now, I understand if you guys want to wait. A lot of comments on my post on Instagram were like, oh, but I have to wait till the final book. And I believe, if this release date stands, I believe it's coming out in December of this year. So hopefully we will get the conclusion to this book at the end of the year. I am fingers crossed that we're going to keep that because I love this trilogy. It's so good, and I want you guys all to read it. It is amazing, and I love each of the characters. Like, I love Adam. I love Sebastian. Linnea, I just love her. She's so precious. So I gave this 5 stars. It almost was a 6-star to me because I loved it so much, but because it ends on a cliffhanger, and I don't know where the hell we're going with this story, and it's a really like gut-ripping cliffhanger. It's very angsty. I'm holding my reservation. I'm going to hold my like 6-star till it concludes. And if it is good, if it's where I want it, I may update this to 6 and the other one to 6 too. We'll see what Giana does. If she makes me happy, It may be a 6-star. But I have to keep that first book at a 4-star because it was just like an erotic romance and the heroine I didn't like. So anyways, I loved this book, you guys. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Anyways, I talked too long about this one. So let's try and keep these other ones a little bit more brief. We'll see how I do. Okay, so the other one that I want to bring up is Crazy Love by Willow Aster. This one I had the ALC of, and I've listened to the audiobooks for the entire series. This is a Single Dad's Playbook series. I think this is book number 5. I can't remember. I'm sorry. But this is between Penn and Addy. And this one was just so adorable. It also had a really beautiful found family type of thing because they kind of meet at one of the friends' like weddings, I believe it was, and they like hit it off. They're kind of like feeling each other, but she kind of gets called away for an emergency, and so like nothing really happens. He had no idea who she really was, but he did think about her a lot after that. And then when they run into each other again, she is actually the coach's daughter. And so her dad like doesn't want her involved with any of the players. He kind of has a negative view of Penn as like the player and all that kind of stuff. And Penn is actually trying to adopt this young boy who is like in foster care and kind of in an abusive situation in the home. And so he's really trying to adopt him, but it's like not going great with his schedule and then his playboy persona and all that kind of stuff. So these two end up kind of coming to an agreement to do this marriage of convenience, and so that he could adopt this boy and give him a home. And they like already had a connection. So what I loved about this was they weren't like, oh, we're just a marriage of convenience, we're not going to be together. No, they were like, let's do this thing. Like, let's be together. And so it's just so sweet. It's very low angst, very sweet. And it just gets bigger when they like get a cat together. Then there was this other little girl that was in that same home and she's in an abusive situation. So they want to adopt her too. And so it kind of becomes this, trying to figure out this life of like, him being on the road, doing his career, but also her career was important, but she has to be there for these kids. And so it's finding that balance, and it just felt so real and beautiful and what would really be the issues in this type of situation. But the way that these two both like sacrificed and compromised for each other was just so beautiful. I loved this book. It was very sweet. I think it's such a beautiful story about adoption. And, it's just very swoony. So I definitely recommend that series. I've loved every book. One book I didn't love as much, but it was like probably a 4-star. It wasn't even bad. So I just highly recommend this series. It is fantastic. Okay, so the next book that I have was actually a new to me author. And, I was surprised how much I enjoyed this book. This was Savage Revenge by Kate Oliver. This is the first book in this series. Sorry, I didn't write any of this down because I'm just kind of winging it here. I barely have any notes on the books here. Sorry about that. But this one is so fantastic, and it's got a lot of daddy kink in it. But I'm not a huge fan of daddy kink, but I was okay with it in this one because it wasn't like in your face or like where she's like little girl. I can't handle the little girl stuff, like kind of creeps me out. It was more like spankings and punishments for her and her being like a brat and that kind of stuff. So just a warning, there's some major daddy kink in here. But this is between Cash and Jordyn. And Cash's family, actually, this is set in Vegas, and his family owns like this big entertainment company. So they've got their kind of controlling a lot of like casinos, hotels, restaurants, all of that kind of stuff. And their father, I think the series is going to be about this set of brothers, and I really liked all of them too. So I'm very interested to read the rest of the series once it comes out. But their father was just murdered. And they think that it was his rival, this guy that like they constantly were at war business wise, but also his father had kind of got the girls. So this guy hated him and they think it was him. So they decide they're going to kidnap his son to kind of torture him and get information and kind of go after this guy. So they go to kidnap Jordyn because she's a girl. And the thing is that Jordyn is a really smart, sassy, gorgeous woman. She's very smart in business, but her father always kept her in the background and never had her in public meetings. Like, she wasn't well known because she's just a woman. And that's kind of his view on things. So it was like kind of like her half-brother or step-brother. I can't remember. I think it's half-brother. That he kind of takes on trips and does all the business with. And that guy's kind of not even into it. But that's why they didn't really know what they were getting into when they go to kidnap her and it's a woman. They're like, well, what do? We don't want to hurt a woman. But Cash is like, nope, we're taking her. So they take her and they kidnap her and they want information on her dad. And she doesn't really have a lot because they don't have a good relationship. But once she hears about what's going on, she does want to help them, but he has issues trusting her. The thing is her kidnapping is pretty light. This is very light captor-captive because this guy has her set up in the house. Maid's giving her food. She's lounging by the pool. They like tell her, just treat this like a vacation, you know? And so they eventually have such an insane attraction to each other, and she can act like a little brat, which brings out his daddy instincts, and he starts to punish her, and she really gets off on the punishing. And so eventually they start this relationship. And the thing is, the reason that I gave this 5 stars was because the amount of praise this man did. Loved it. I love praise. Give me praise any day. And then if it's good praise and it's solidly prevalent throughout the entire book, thank you. Like, that's what I want. That's what I want. And this man praised this woman, and she needed it. She needed the help with her self-confidence, being treated like less than. He supported her intelligence, and it was just amazing. So I loved this book. Obviously, we have kind of like this mafia type of style going on, and there's some third act conflict, suspense stuff. But I really loved it. I loved all the brothers, so I'm very interested in continuing. So this was a great first experience for trying this author for the first time, and I really had a great time. Okay, so the next book that I had was also a new to me author, which is crazy because I know she's really popular, but I got an ALC for Where We Bloom. And this was by Kristen, proby, and I had never read her before, and I just really loved this romance. This is between Connor and Billie, and Billie is a curvy, sassy, like badass woman. I loved her character. I love it when an author writes a curvy heroine that's not obsessed about her curves and not being beautiful enough and is like constantly in her head, even though that is a reality. I'm really down. I have like almost like body dysmorphia issues. Like, I really like hate my body. I give myself enough hell as it is for how I look. And so I don't want to read that in my heroine. I just don't. Like, I already do that enough, and it's just a horrible way to be, you know? Like, we need to just love our bodies, and it's hard in today's day and age. So anyways, I just love that about her. But her and I believe it's Connor, right? Yeah. Connor, he's a little bit older than her, and I believe her best friend is his sister, if I'm remembering correctly. And so they're kind of in the same circles. And I guess this is the 3rd book in the series. And I think in a previous book, they had a one-night stand. So it wasn't like we didn't get the one-night stand in this book. And it probably would have been nice to see. But honestly, their chemistry was amazing off the charts. So I didn't need it, but they had a one-night stand, and he is so attracted to her. He's from Ireland. He's Irish. Connor Craze did an amazing Irish accent for him. It was so hot. So the audiobook was fantastic, and he is a billionaire, and so he's 100% focused on his career. He never really wanted a relationship. He did have a previous marriage that just didn't really work out. He was never really available to her, and so it just didn't pan out. And so he didn't really want a relationship. And so Billie's like, knows what she's worth. And she's like, I'm not just here for you to fucking like leave. I want more. So don't stop trying to start shit with me. But Connor cannot stay away from her. He's so into her. And so he eventually tries to go there with her. and they start a relationship. And it was just super sweet. He's so protective. Like, he woos her. He, like, treats her to things. He is just the best type of billionaire. It was amazing. And I just loved their connection. It was really, really cute. So, I mean, not a ton to say about it. Honestly, it's a very, like, low angst, sweet billionaire romance that I just really enjoyed and left me with a smile on my face. So, that was one of my favorites this month. Okay, so for the last one, I have Spark by Lauren Rowe. And I got the ALC for this one. And it was so good. I love the audiobook. I think that she does this a lot, like, because there was a musical performances included in the audiobook. And I think she does that with her audiobooks. I'm not sure if it's all of them, but I'm pretty sure she does that. So I highly recommend the audiobook for this one because it was so good. And this is a rock star romance. And I will say this, I'm not usually a fan of rock star because I don't really like the womanizing, drug use, like over the top, like sleazy behavior, other woman drama that's always a thing. And so I don't usually love it. But this is like one of my favorite rock star romances. It was so sweet. And that is because we have like a golden retriever cinnamon roll hero that has been pining after the heroine since he was 16. So in this, we have Kendrick and Ruby. And Kendrick and Ruby met when they were in high school. He had a band. He was also a football player. So his more dreams were going pro and playing football. But he like was crushing hard on Ruby. She was kind of more like gothy and like cute, you know, cute goth type of girl, and he wanted to spend more time with her, so he invited her to like audition with his band to try and spend more time with her. But like she started to kind of like flirt with his brother, who was like older, and so he kind of freaked out, and they were like kind of thinking like, is she here because you're just trying to spend time with her? And he was trying to deny things, so they kind of like made a deal of like she's off limits because she's also another one of the new bandmates' sisters. So they're like, she's off limits, so there won't be any drama in the band. And so he gets like friend zoned. And so it's many years later. They're in their like, I think mid to late 20s. And they have a very successful band. They're best friends. They're like basically like friend soulmates. Their friendship was very beautiful in this. You know, I'm picky about friends to lovers. I am so picky. And this friendship from the get-go was so sweet, so beautiful. You could feel with their banter that they were just so close and they really loved each other and they were just really amazing friends. So I bought into that immediately and I loved their dynamic. And so she ends up breaking up with her boyfriend. She has not had the best taste in men. And this boyfriend ends up writing a diss song, which was great because they actually have a musical performance of this diss song. And in this diss song, he's basically calling her out of like, oh, he's just a brother to me, you know, and you calling out his name in sleep. And so, you know, Kendrick's like, is he talking about me? You know, because he's like kind of narrowing it down and it could only be him, and her saying he's like a brother to her, but like she obviously had more feelings for him and stuff like that. And so they were at an event and and that song came on. And so they like kissed to be like kind of an FU to that guy. And they also get from that like an offer to join like kind of like the singing competition one of the other people in the group do. But they kind of want them to play up their relationship because her ex-boyfriend is also going to be in that competition. So they start to kind of like be a fake dating type of situation. She also has renovation stuff going down. I think she had a flooding or something in her apartment. And so she's staying with him. And so he is finally taking this opportunity to try and go after her and make her see that like they could be more. So he's like, tries to like, his friend was so funny. He like told him, you can't be the golden retriever. You need to be the Doberman. You need to like make it out like you're just want to fling and you just want to fling and you guys just want to like hook up and then get her to fall for you and want to be with you. So that's kind of what we're doing here. And of course, they have feelings for each other. He has been pining after her for years. So it's just very sweet. It's very good. I love the whole dynamic. And what I loved about this is when things are revealed or secrets are revealed, it wasn't like a third act breakup. There's no third act breakup. They talk it through. They're such close friends that they talk it through and they understand and they work it out together. Imagine that. Like, imagine working it out. And that's what I love, is because a lot of times in Friends to Lovers, if they end things, it's like, well, how are you not trusting your best friend? So they completely trust each other and understand each other because they are best friends. So I just really loved this. This was another 5-star. It was so fantastic. I highly recommend the audiobook and had such a good time with it. So anyways, this video is already like 40 minutes long. So thank you so much for watching this. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Leave me a like, comment down below. Let me know your favorite book of the month. And I will see you guys on the next one.